We are dissecting the issues of the day with Susie O'Brien from the Herald Sun and Caroline D'Russo, host of the Royal Report here on Sky News. And the day started off dramatically when the Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews announced that he was scrapping the 2026 Commonwealth Games. Have a look.
Look, I've made a lot of difficult calls, a lot of very difficult decisions in this job. This is not one of them. Frankly, $6 to $7 billion for a 12-day sporting event, we are not doing that. That does not represent value for money. That is all cost and no benefit.
Extraordinary stuff, Susie, isn't it? Promised this to the regions in the lead up to the election, got a thumping election win. Now, don't worry about it. And how come he's suddenly worried about costs? He's never worried about the cost of anything else.
This is just the most extraordinary turn of events. What would Ted Bullputt say? He would say this is a shambles and he'd be right. I mean, this is humiliating. It's depressing. It's embarrassing. There are questions being asked about the $7 billion figure that he keeps relying on, Daniel Andrews keeps relying on. I mean, it cost $1.2 billion for the Gold Coast Games, $1.8 billion in Birmingham. People are saying that we could move it to Melbourne for maybe $4 billion. I mean, that's nowhere near the $7 billion that he is quoting. So I think some of these figures are rubbery. The fact that even athletes, peak sporting bodies, mayors of these towns or cities didn't even know about it. They were watching the TV at the same time as the rest of us. I mean, this is, as a proud Melburnian, this is just so embarrassing. And you know what? We're spending $2 billion in still providing some of this infrastructure in the regions. Could cost $1 billion to get out of this contract. So we'll be spending $3 billion not to have the Commonwealth Games. Good work, Victoria. That's the Andrews government at work.
It is embarrassing. Kuala Lumpur put on the Games, New Delhi put on the Games, Manchester put on the Games, the Gold Coast put on the Games, but Victoria at the moment says it's beyond them. All the other states, surprisingly, all the other premiers are saying they don't want to put it on. The Commonwealth Games says it would be half that cost of $6 billion. They say more like $3 billion. But the Lord Mayor of Perth, Basil Zempilas, he's keen for Perth to grab the Games. Have a look.
If we don't walk through this door that has mysteriously and magically suddenly opened because of some lines that I, quite frankly, don't accept from the Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews, then we will never have an opportunity to host a festival of sport like this again. Our Premier needs to step forward and make the most of this incredible opportunity for Western Australia that has suddenly presented.
I think you're spot on. I think what's gone on in Victoria is dodgy as all get up, and it'll take a long while for us to find out the real details. But it's a real opportunity here for any number of other states. I'm surprised that New South Wales and South Australia have ruled it out already. Queensland, perhaps understandable because they've got the Olympics coming up. And Roger Cook in Western Australia has ruled this out before doing, as you say, at least putting the call and finding out what could happen. I would have thought Perth could do this standing on one leg, and it would be a massive success.
Look, the biggest expense, Chris, for any of these global events, like an Olympic Games or a Commonwealth Games, is the main stadium. We have Optus Stadium. It is one of the best stadiums in the world. When it was built and completed in 2018, it was built with the express purpose of being multi-sport. Here's the venues we've got. This is what we can repurpose. Here's some where we might need a little bit of help, but we're not prepared to do that one, or that one. The Commonwealth Games Federation will say, no worries, because we're dead if we don't come to Perth under those terms. And it's not only naive if the Western Australian government don't at least consider putting that pitch to the Commonwealth Games Federation. Frankly, it's being negligent. Because I've had, through the great fortune of my broadcast career, the opportunity to go and see these events firsthand and be into the host cities. The profound impact that it has on the people of those cities, on the infrastructure, the well-being of those cities, the feel-good nature. The citizens of those host cities walk tall. You put your city on the map.
Good to talk to you, Basil. I don't think we've heard the end of this. Keep pushing.
I'm punching hard. It would be criminal to waste this opportunity. These set of circumstances rarely, if ever, come around. We've got to grab it while we can. And let's not forget, we're in a pretty prosperous state, Western Australia. Our balance sheet looks nothing like Victoria's.
Yeah, quick swipe at Victoria on the way there from Basil Zempilas.